Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Jahliali. In this incarnation, we have the moon in Sagittarius until July 9th. And this energy could be the injection of fire to move forward and to encourage ourselves to explore new things from this perspective of living adventures and, moving out of the known. Or even if you are transiting challenges, then this is about returning to the confidence that this passage is something that has a higher purpose. And that every time that we are experimenting restrictive phases, we know that later that we have to reach a phase of expansion, because that is the universal pulse present in everything from breathing until the movement of stars. So today is the first day of Uranus in Gemini, and even though I follow my own advice of not, consuming excessive news, today I decided to look a little bit to check manifestations of Uranus, and I was surprised by the quantity of situations that are not only responding to Uranus in Gemini, but also to the connection that is doing with Neptune retrograde in Aries, Saturn in Aries, and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So I am not going to mention, the chaotic situations in the world right now. But I do think that it's important to learn to see what we don't control as species, that even though they are not moving as we would like to many times, this is creating like the necessary environment so we can uncover a new potential in the human level. So crisis is what impulses us many times to turn ourselves creative or to take decisions that can enable a new scenario. So in the individual level context with Uranus, we could experiment them as a download of the higher self. That is basically the level of the soul that has all the potential and all the information that is not revealed yet, that we can reveal in here. And it is there is no ego, but there is this level of subjectivity, to put it in some way. So when we receive this information, it is not only something that can bring solutions to our life, but also could impact positively in the environment. In the end, I think that every development of the potential necessarily contributes with the rest of us. So it is very important, the labor of correction of imbalances. This is vital so we can enable the potential. This latter cannot be developed without the previous one. And obviously there are several levels and phases. I am referring that I don't think that we have to correct every imbalance so we can develop the whole potential, because that is not real. I mean, we are always going to deal with new imbalances precisely to continue growing. But there is this initial phase that is very linked to what people call the spiritual awakening. I call it the first awakening, actually. But well, it is this awareness that reality is reflecting an inner energy, and that from changes inside and decisions, of course, this is a key, reality can change. And this has a lot of sense in a way that this thing about the correction and the developing of potential, because if a soul has the mission specific to contribute with others, transmitting information about relationships, for example, dynamic in relationships. It is a Venusian example, this one. But well, Uranus, it is still in a conjunction with Venus in Gemini. So it's very, very natural that those people are going to experiment several imbalances in those areas so they can learn or let's say remember, because the sun is still in Cancer, to transmit later from their own experience. I know that relationships are the area in which many of us, we could project our own shadows and unconscious patterns, but well, we also could acquire, valuable knowledge and transmit it in other ways, like from other people's experiences. I mean, reading a book is absorbing an experience of other person, but I do think that is vital, and we can feel this when someone is transmitting a message to allow this comprehension that is not only theoric or mental. Obviously, I think this is enabled through practice, through taking what we are learning to practice. But I am also referring to including this intuitive aspect, because when something brings us light, there is this resonance that we could even feel it in the physical level. It could happen to you that when you listen to an information, you felt chills. That is the electrical download of Uranus, and it could be a manifestation too of this planet. And everything that I am saying is in order to say that the cosmos is manifested when it offers synchronicities in very, very different ways in our lives. I mean, synchronicity is not always the butterfly or the feather. It could also be a scene, that we are seeing in the street. Could be a person that has an opposed opinion to oneself. And with this latter, I am not referring that, the other has the truth or don't have it. Or doesn't have it, sorry. There could be cases where other people are going to, could offer to ourselves this knowledge that we didn't have. And there are other cases in which we could see that there is a distortion in the message. But what I am trying to say is that when we are needing an answer, there could be people that are contributing in a very indirect way. Let's put another example. If there is a person that has doubts in putting in practice a project because there is a pattern of not trusting in himself or herself, in his own capacities, this is very linked with the full moon in Capricorn. And the person, it is not taking the decision, which is one of the shadows of Gemini, overthinking and not doing. And suddenly, comes a person that makes this criticism that is not constructive. We still have Mars in Virgo, and has an imbalanced behavior. This could be a signal, the reflection of learning to trust in oneself and to do it anyways, because this is not even trusting in oneself. It is about recognizing as an instrument of cosmos and knowing that God, cosmos, or universe, it is not going to put us there if we are not capable of doing that. And even if things initially are not going the way that we expected, that is also part of developing the potential, and there are going to happen many things that they are not as we expect. This is also Uranus. So yesterday I was also saying that learning to open to new ideas, it is something very important, and we know when we are closing ourselves or when we are opening, because when we close ourselves, we are like defending something as if we were attacked. We could be talking about anything else that is not ourselves, and we are feeling, the opposite opinion as something very personal. And with open ourselves, this doesn't mean that we have to consider the opinion of the other. We have to obligate ourselves to take the opinion of the other as a contribution. But I do think that it is important to, I mean there are many times in which we could listen to other people, and what the other is saying is not connected to our truth, and I think it is important to do this registration. But the difference it is that we don't need to attack or trying to convince, because if those dynamics appear, it doesn't matter the validity, how much truth we are saying in our words. If those dynamics are appearing, if we have to force someone to listen to ourselves, there are conditionings of the ego that are being activated. And the problem, it is not this manifestation of the conditionings, because we all have them, conditions of the identity. I many times get angry or feel indignation with things that I am reading in social media, but I do this exercise of asking myself what is that showing, because at least I can learn something, because indignation, it is something that only affects oneself. So what I was trying to say, it is that to put in practice being in presence, which is being aware, Many times that goes well, and many times that we cannot put that in practice. This is the thing. That's why it is a practice. But being aware, being present, is what enables us to make different decisions and to use our energy towards a space that help us to elevate a little bit more our consciousness. Attacking is directly not having consciousness, at least at that moment. And this is one of the challenges with this energy, recognizing when there is an enrichment debate, or when the people that are participating are discussing something from their closures, because we are not going anywhere, and people are repeating cyclically, they are coming back to the same point without new arguments. So this applies for the inner debates when there are fragmented parts of ourselves that generally, are the conditions, and the voice of the soul is always very clear, but it turns into this fog when there is so much mental noise. So it is about looking the way of questioning that part that is closing itself in certain kind of thought, especially one that is not producing, when that is producing uncomfortable emotions, and to produce the opening. Well, I am leaving this message today. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.